A spearfisherman named Henri Murray was attacked by a hungry great white shark at False Bay, Millers Point, South Africa. Although he was accompanied by a friend, the shark aggressively fought against the two and eventually came out on top, devouring Henri. Hit that like button and subscribe right now. This is the terrifying shark attack on Henri Murray. Welcome to Final Affliction. On June 4, 2005, Henri and his best friend Piet Van Niekerk decided to go on a skin diving and spearfishing trip. That day, Piet Van remembers distinctly what Henri said to him before their excursion. Henri said that day he wouldn't mind being attacked by a shark because Millers Point is notorious for shark attacks. Henri might have predicted his tragic fate. 7 months ago, a 77-year-old woman was taken by a great white shark off Jagger Walk at Fish Hoek. She was devoured and all that remained was her red swimming cap. Since 2002, there have been 7 shark attacks in Western Cape. The waters of Millers Point connect seamlessly with False Bay's large open waters, a hotspot for great white sharks. In fact, there are so many great white sharks here that False Bay is one of the few places on the planet where divers can reliably encounter the creatures up close, with the protection of cages, of course. According to experts, great white shark attacks are rare. However, because these predators are enormous, fast, and powerful, they are often fatal when the attacks do occur. Studies showed that attacks on humans are often the result of mistaken identity. By looking at humans and animals from a great white shark's point of view underwater, researchers concluded that these creatures, although highly evolved, have poor color perception. However, they are keen on motion and brightness contrast, frequently mistaking humans on the surface as seals. On that fateful day, Henri wore a red wetsuit, contrasting strongly with the surrounding waters. June 4th, 2005 was a day like any other. Most attacks are. The gentle ocean breeze blowing from the south was always inviting for surfers, divers, and swimmers alike. It was especially enticing on a warm and sunny Saturday like this one. Henri Murray was a 22-year-old student from Durbanville, a quaint semi-rural town in the Western Cape province of South Africa. Placed on the northeast outskirts of the metropolis, the town is surrounded by wine and wheat farms. However, Henri was not interested in them. He decided to pursue medicine, attending his 5th year at the University of Stellenbosch, a medical school in Cape Town. Henri had always been an outdoor enthusiast. He had a strong affinity for nature and wanted to experience everything firsthand. He was also a sportsman who never had problems with taking on challenges. After his spearfishing excursion, Henri actually had plans to travel to KwaZulu-Natal. However, that plan was about to be derailed in the most unfortunate circumstances. Henri, accompanied by his best friend and fellow medical student Piet, headed to Black Marlin Restaurant to grab some lunch. The restaurant provided a scenic view of the ocean, so the two hung around there for an hour or so. After finishing their lunch, the two rested and eventually decided to enter the waters at around 2 p.m. in front of the restaurant. With the seas at a low spring tide, Henri and Piet decided to swim towards the deeper parts, approximately 150 meters away from the shore. The ocean was relatively calm, with its half-meter swells every now and again. Additionally, due to the sunny weather, the water had good visibility. It was a good day to enter shark-infested waters. After an hour or so, Henri decided to hunt and spear galleon. Henri took a deep breath and dove toward the bottom of the ocean, spotting a galleon. Henri aimed his fishing spear and fired at the unwitting fish. However, he had no time to celebrate his catch. From the corner of his eye, something was moving in the distance. It was a large silhouette slowly moving toward him. Henri paused and looked at the creature. Then his heart sank. He realized they needed to get out of the water. Quickly heading back to the surface, Henri shouted to Piet, "A great white is here, we have to get out." There was no problem spotting the shark. After all, the water visibility was excellent. However, as Henri would soon discover, spotting the danger wasn't enough to save his life. Piet heard Henri's warning and promptly moved towards the shore. As the two hurriedly swam together to escape the danger, the great white shark suddenly came out of the water next to them, utterly surprising the two frantic men. The water burst into chaos as the creature propelled itself in the air trying to intercept them. The marauding predator was drawn entirely to Henri and Piet's movements. It was hunting them. After making a grand entrance, however, the shark decided to disappear under the water again. And that's when it all began. Sharks can swim approximately 50 miles per hour. At their athletic peak, humans can swim around 6 miles per hour. Henri knew the shark was circling him. Suddenly, the creature reappeared, showing its fin on the surface. It snapped its menacing jaws at Henri. Henri was never one to back down from a fight. With the spear gun in hand, he was able to fend off the attack. The shark swam away, but it provided little relief to Henri as the creature immediately circled back and turned to him again. Whatever Henri's attempt was, it did not deter the creature. Again, Henri fought using his spear to keep the predator at a reasonable distance. The shark's jaws barely missed him and Henri was unscathed. Usually, sharks don't try to eat humans. However, this particular shark was adamant about taking a bite out of Henri. Instead of snapping at Henri for the third time, the shark swam underneath him and dragged him to the depths. Mind you, this all happened within a minute, so Piet had no time to react. Finally realizing his friend was in deep trouble, Piet dove towards the commotion. However, what he saw would scar him for life. It was Henri's arms dangling from the shark's mouth. The creature had clamped onto Henri's entire body. Seeing the sight of his best friend being attacked, Piet felt an insane rush of anger and fear. He quickly pointed his spear gun at the hostile creature and fired, but it had no effect. The shark had tasted Henri's blood and was in a frenzy. Within seconds of getting shot, the creature swam away with Henri still in its mouth. Panicked and traumatized, Piet swam to the shore and called for help. Immediately after Piet's desperate calls for help, some local fishermen came to his assistance. They used their boats to search for Henri and called emergency services. Within 20 minutes, Simonstown Police and Fire Services, Metro Rescue, National Sea Rescue Institute, and other emergency agencies arrived in the area. They conducted a search, but never found Henri or his body. Divers were only able to recover Henri's spear gun, and the rubber swim fin settled a meter below the water's surface. However, the following day, fishermen in Simonstown saw the shark that attacked Henri. They figured it was the creature because it had a spear still embedded in its body. On that same day, a piece of Henri's wetsuit with his car keys were found 7 kilometers from where the attack took place. There was no way that Henri could have survived the attack. At this point, the rescuers assumed he was already gone. They promptly informed Henri's family and Piet. The search for his body continued only until 3:30 p.m. on that Sunday afternoon. Eventually, they had to accept the truth and call the search off. In the following weeks, Piet spoke to the media and remembered Henri's prediction of being attacked by a shark. Piet says, "I think he knew his time was near. I believe God took him away." When the attack happened, Piet remembered feeling helpless, even though he could hear Henri's screams from afar. It just happened too quickly, he simply could not react. Although shark attacks are rare, swimming in the world's most dense location of great white sharks increases your odds of being attacked by multiples. In the case of Henri, it seems he knew this deep down, and unfortunately, met his terrifying final affliction.